Okay, so this one is for you, Scorpio. Hi, greetings. Thank you for visiting Terra Illumination. That's Terra Illumination. That's you. This is your general report for February 2018. Now, you've done this before. You know the routine. Watch for your sun, moon, and rising, all the basics. Reinterpret for yourselves, and even cross-watch for your loved ones. Who knows what might happen? Reinterpret everything to suit yourselves, okay? I know a lot of you are very gifted at that kind of stuff already. Cards were already well shuffled in advance, but we're going to the last second so that you're a witness. No flyers, jumpers, oracles, no reversals, sorry. And then we're going to use the journey spread that we like to do here at Terra Illumination, all about from the heart. What's the most loving thing for you, Scorpio? Okay? So you're probably aware of the eclipses happening right now. You might be feeling it deep inside of you, a little bit, rattling things around a bit, shaking things up, waking things up in the foundations of your life and in your place in this world. Excuse me, no jumpers, no flyers, no oracles. I'm putting that back. You never saw that, okay? Shh, don't tell anybody. Sorry about that. Okay, so like I said, the eclipses. Let's get into that in a second. This is not an astrology channel. We're just going to maybe weave in some of that as we go through the story. Wow, cards are jumping, man. What's going on with you, Scorpio? Come on, settle down. Seriously. All right, hold on. I'm not ready yet. Oh my gosh, what is going on here, Scorpio? Excuse me, it doesn't often get like that when we're doing the shuffling and the cuts. All right, here we go. Let's cut it up. Calm down now. Calm down. There we go. All right. I like to really break up the energy of the deck so it's really clear, pure, refined, and ready to go for you. All right, Scorpio, so this would be your energy at the very core of you, the heart. The heart needs what it needs to get what it needs. Heart is at the very core of you. You might not understand this energy right now, but it is there. It needs to be honored and nurtured and respected. Feed the heart. Take care of yourself at the deepest levels that you possibly can. Deep love of self here. You might not have words for it right now because you might be totally preoccupied with what's out there, so-called thing called life. Oh no. Over here is legacy energy. So who knows? You might have had a bumpy ride, through Saturn in Sagittarius, Saturn in Scorpio. Remember that? A few years ago? Oh my gosh, poor Scorpios, you got really beat up. This was well before Terra Illumination ever existed, but I know a lot of you. I have a few Scorpio acquaintances, and whew, yeah. Then you had to go through the Sagittarius. Anyway, now we're in Saturn and Capricorn, which is probably going to be a little more comfortable for you compared to a lot of people because the Capricorn energy is very sextile towards the Scorpio energy. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, moving on. Okay, this is the energy legacy. Okay, history, the past, whatever you want to call it. The pain and suffering, the karmic lessons, whatever you want to call it. Okay, this is the ever-present now. This is the energy of right now as we live through the reading, moment by moment, day by day, week by week. Okay, and we have to allow for this thing we call the past, and we do allow for this thing we call the future. But our real power is in the now. A lot of people don't like that because it's so much more comfortable to rest on the status quo and what we know, our conditioning, our circumstances. Even if it's miserable, at least it's the devil you know. Okay, a lot of people are not comfortable with being absolutely present, so you end up making expectations and placing conditions on the future based on experiences from the past, and they might not be connected in any way, shape, or form. So you're limiting your experience of life in this journey, wasting part of the journey. So let's just say you're very, very present, okay, Scorpio? You're just super present, super evolved, and that's what you do, okay? Thank you. And then that is where you hold all your power. Through the healing power of your decisions, you can, let's say, initiate your evolution moment by moment, heartbeat by heartbeat, beat by beat. And all the nutrients that you bring into yourself, all the nutrients that you pump out to yourself, the wastes that you draw in that have to be extracted and then excreted, all of that being pumped through the system through your amazing heart. So also, by the way, Scorpio, you've got Jupiter in Scorpio right now, which might be making you feel a little bit larger than life. The Jupiter is the great benefic. It is the planet that typically lifts us up out of the doldrums, and it's probably something that you really deserve right now. So let's just put a positive spin on this, okay, Scorpio? Let's put that Jupiter omnipotence, that Jupiter joy on here, that fun, that desire to grow and evolve and be happy here with your decisions. So how do we make these decisions that work for your heart so that you do nurture yourself, so that it's not a self-defeating unconscious decision, it's a very fully self-nurturing, self-loving decision in the moment, in the now. How do we do that? And consequently, what happens, okay? So, we're all human, so we always have this tendency to slip out of the now, drift into the past, daydream about the future. So how do we stay centered? Let's say you're very, very centered and you're very conscious and present making your decisions. So despite all the risks and the challenges, despite all the pain and the suffering, what happens when you do make a loving decision? Yeah, okay. How does that feel? How does that work? What happens if you screw up on the decisions? Oh no. What does that look like? What are you losing? So where does that take us? Along to the next beat of the heart. Think of it as a journey. Think of this as every single beat of the heart. Do-doom, do-doom, do-doom. How's that working for you? Are you loving yourself properly? Which is the best thing you can do while you're here on this planet, okay? Next, before we actually get into this, we're going to look at circumstantial energy. Call it the weather, and you're going to make the best of it, okay, Scorpio? Queen of Wands. So, Scorpio, my feeling is that circumstances are, let's say, ripe for you to, let's say, tune into this side of yourself. Let's just say this is good weather, okay? Sun is shining and it's good weather. And it's very, very supportive. Let's just say all the planets, all the circumstances, even these very challenging eclipses are for your benefit, and they are there to help you shine and prosper and grow and come into your strength and power in ways that you probably haven't had a chance to do for a long time. If you wanted to look at it like with the Jupiter in Scorpio, with the Saturn in Capricorn, that's very, very supportive stuff for you. So it's like you're really primed and set up to have a really good role right now, put it that way. And even with the eclipses, the Aquarius Leo eclipse thing is going to really focus light on the foundations of your life, the home, the security, where you sleep, how you nurture the home, and just the opposite energy of being way far out there in the world. For example, are you going to try and run a business from home? Are you going to, is what you're doing at home affecting how you are perceived in the world? What you bring into the world is your mission, or the other way around. Is your mission in the world having a profound effect on the foundations of your life? Things like that. So I'd say this is very supportive energy for you right now, Scorpio. Let's have a look here at the core. Okay, forgive and forget. Okay, it's a very strong indication right now that your heart really, really, truly wants to move on. And all the pain and suffering that you've had to endure, starting when it was Jupiter and Saturn in Scorpio, and that tough ride with Saturn in Sagittarius through your second house of self-worth, self-value, money and resources. That was very hard for you, almost 6 years. But you're coming out of it now, Scorpio, and you might feel really, really beat up, but you've got a chance to restart and reform again with a whole new life in ways that this doesn't happen very frequently in our lifetimes, where you've got such really supportive, strong alignments for you to evolve and grow. But it does mean having to totally absolve yourself from any self-shame, self-degradation, self-punishment, and forgive all of that horrible stuff that happened to you by others, because you can't take it with you. It's just like extremely heavy baggage. The baggage of anger, resentment, bitterness, loathing, regret, sorrow. Those are very, very, very heavy uh, rocks to carry in your backpack. You don't need any of that going forward here, Scorpio. It's almost like having a rebirth, a complete new start in life where you get to be the real Scorpio that you've never had a chance to be in a very, very long time. So it means having to forgive yourself and then having to forgive life and the world and others, and just take it all as just, okay, it's just like, okay, that's how it is, you know, okay. So I got really messed up. I got really screwed over. Okay, that's it. Move on, move on, move on, move on. So what are you bringing in with you? The heart, you see, before we jump into that, the heart knows that. The heart knows deep inside that there's going to be massive changes, refurbishments going on, upheavals, new starts and new beginnings in your home and in your career. The heart already knows that. But in order to move on, it needs to be released from whatever is holding you back. Okay. Well, you're probably already sensing it. In other words, with the Three of Cups here, somewhere inside of you, Scorpio, you are celebrating. There's probably a couple of, maybe just literally two other people in your life, in your world, who get it. They understand and they are there for you like never before. Like you are very deeply loved, Scorpio, and simply because you've been very, very loving. It might have been very hard. You might have taken a lot of knocks. But my feeling here with this reading is that you have been very, very loving, and now you are very, very deeply loved. It's simply nature, you know, the waves of nature. Be loving, be loved. Be loving, be loved. And it's coming back at you, and you are arriving like with a fresh start, knowing that you're deeply loved, deeply, deeply appreciated, and yet your heart has the strength and willingness to forgive and forget and move on, and not take all that bitterness and pain and suffering to the grave. It's just the opposite. It's redemption, it's freedom, start again, and rejoice with that. It's very liberating. This is very, very liberating energy for you, Scorpio. So, what about now? Okay. Whoa, whoa. Even with all of this, because of these eclipses, I'm feeling this is very, very, very much to do with the eclipses. You know, to do with the moon and the north nodes and all of those sort of things going on right now. So the nodal axis is going to be very, very brightly lit up right now. So for you, the north node is in Leo. So that's going to really shine a light on your basically career, your place in this world, your mission, your vision, your purpose for being here on the planet. It's going to be very, very lit up right now. And how is it going to affect you in your home life, in the fourth house? Well, it could be a little scary because you might, you know, in all your happiness here, sensing a new life coming and your ability to release and let go and be redeemed and move on, you're starting again, a whole new journey where it might feel like you're getting a little bit hazed and you might be having to go into, let's say, new space, new understandings where you're just going to have to learn by your gut, what your gut and your instincts are going to tell you, and just trust it and move on. Even though your spiritual GPS might not be working very well, even though all your traditional ways of seeking guidance and everything are becoming obsolete because you're evolving to a new level here, and you really need, it's like you don't really need anything with you except the love, okay? That's the most important thing. And then what are you going to do with that moving forward? I think this is very much to do with the eclipses, career in public place, and holding things like that. What's coming to you in this world? What are you bringing to this world with your light? The Leo North Node, it's all about being very shiny and bright in your career. And then how does that affect you in home? In the home, it could be quite jarring for you, okay? It's a square. It's a hard square with your sun. Leo Aquarius, hard square to the Scorpio, okay? So it's okay to freak out. It's okay to feel a little bit, whoa, what's going on with these eclipses? Oh no. So anyway, let's have a look. Let's keep going. Making the decisions. It's okay to be innocent. Hold on to what works. It's very, very simple. So about making these decisions, it's taking a, let's say, a good look at your world around you in a very simple nuts and bolts way and evaluating the new landscape that's unfolding in front of you and moving very gently, baby steps at a time, the Saturn way. There's no shortcuts for you, Scorpio. As wonderful as this is, we are all still on a journey here, but you're starting from scratch again. So it's very, very good for you. But it's almost like being reborn. It's almost like being a little child again and reborn, starting from scratch and going gently, step by step, very, very carefully in a very methodical, grounded, materially based, three-dimensional manner. I mean, it's wonderful to have dreams and wishes and desires, but we're talking about tangible reality here on Earth, okay? Especially with this February thing and the eclipses. We need to stay very grounded, okay, Scorpio? So it's just a suggestion for you guys, all right? So how do we do this effectively? Okay, if you have to, Scorpio, get advice. Okay, seek very, very good advice and surround yourself with talent. Make sure that you are, because we are all in relationship to some degree or other, even if we're not in an obvious way. So it's very much important to continue this energy here in very, very simple terms. Surround yourself with people who love you. Surround yourself with people whom you love very, very deeply. And make that a law. Make that a code of law, okay? Going forward, because that's the most important thing, is bringing in the love. What is the most loving thing for you right now, Scorpio? And that is to, by law, step by step by step, treat yourself to the love that you deserve, that you're already sensing, and it's out there for you. Especially I'm feeling when it comes to this home career thing, this eclipse energy, this opposition that could be jarring. Like, take a very good close look at it, get professional advice, do all the homework that you have to do, step by step by step. And let's say basically teach yourself in very methodical terms, the Saturn way, what to do and how to do it every time you make a decision from your point of innocence. It's okay to be innocent. We're all learning and growing. This is just the next step for you, but it has to be done in very thorough, methodical, very responsible, very well thought out manners that may not seem very, exciting or fun, but it needs to be done right now, especially like in terms of evaluating things with a very clear, unambiguous, unbiased approach. Like, what works? What works? What works for the next step? Okay. Consequentially, see, when you do it right, you systematically build wealth for yourself. Literally, self-esteem, self-worth, money, building home and family, building a legacy for yourself, Scorpio, which has a ramification way above and beyond yourself. It's almost like building a home business. So can you see how that would relate very strongly to the Leo Aquarius nodal axis? Become a star in your business. Whatever that is, your gifts, your talents, no matter how old you are, how young you are, play to your strengths. Find out your strengths, your values, your ambitions and goals, and what you can really bring to this earth that really people really need, that you can offer, and make that your business. And if you can run that business from home, great. And then if that turns into a legacy and you can build and grow from there, build foundations for the future that has long-term prospects for you, that benefits others. That's the beauty of this. I see this as very good news for you, Scorpio. So what happens if you mess up on a few decisions? It's okay. It's going to happen. Okay. Well, you lose the firepower. It's basically a wasted opportunity. But with Jupiter in Scorpio right now, as soon as this opportunity fades because you messed up, it's okay. It's going to come right back again because Jupiter is right there for you. So when you do tune into yourself and do things in a very methodical, practical, well thought out manner, then it's like you are feeding the opportunity. So the opportunities say, wow, Scorpio understands that. Let's send him another opportunity. It's like if you're successful at something, I was reading this story about like if you're very, very good at running property management, like real estate or something, and you grow and you grow and you grow, and eventually the federal government comes in and says, hey, listen, could you manage all these Section 8 houses and properties for us? Because we don't know how to do it. We actually want someone who knows what they're doing. And so, like opportunity breeds opportunity. And so that's what works when you do it right. It's like having a hand, like a switch to the opportunity switch. As soon as you maximize one opportunity, the next opportunity lines up directly for you. So then you realize, it's a method, it's a business, it's a process. Just repeat what works and stop doing what doesn't work. Very, very simple. Where does that take us here? Okay, it's a don't be scared of this, Scorpio, please. It can make you realize, my feeling here is that because there's so much potential good stuff here, to me this is such good news, the way the reading feels that I can tell you. It makes you become very aware of what didn't work, what never worked, and how you have perhaps gone through maybe a whole Saturn cycle for all we know. I don't know how old you are. If you are not even at your first Saturn return yet, then this could be felt in a different way. If you're after your first Saturn return heading towards your second one, then this could feel very different. My feeling is that if you're heading towards your first Saturn return in your late 20s or something, then as you get closer and closer, I'm not saying this is a Saturn return, but I'm talking about, excuse me, just delete what I just said about that. But I'm thinking in terms of like major life cycles, especially Saturn cycles. You become aware of how much you have been betrayed and how a lot of that maybe you didn't deserve. Okay, so that's why it's so important to understand like how to forgive and forget and move on so that you don't get stuck in the past, okay, which would end up, let's say, contaminating your future potential. In order to move forward and release yourself from this, it's all about forgive and forget. Understand that you might have had to go through some very long, bitter, painful lessons to get all of this. And then when you come to the stark realization of what you had to endure, it becomes almost epic. It becomes almost heroic how much hideous stuff you had to endure, especially to the heart. If you've had to endure a lot of betrayal, a lot of suffering, a lot of self-sabotage, and a lot of sabotage from others, and a lot of betrayal from others. It happens, people, to the best of us, even you, Scorpio. With Scorpio, there's so much power, you could have attracted very, very powerful people to you who are offended by your power, and they end up taking out all their doo-doo all over you rather than taking care of it themselves. So you end up being a receptacle of other people's doo-doo. But Scorpio is very good at turning garbage into gold. And so I would encourage you to see this Three of Swords here as almost like a badge of honor. Like a badge of honor. Like if you could have this turned into like a little badge and put on your jacket, like this is what I've had to endure, people. It's literally like becoming a war veteran and how you went through horrific wars, endured tremendous pain and suffering, and you are alive to tell the tale, and you have been forgiven, and you are forgiving of all the perpetrators, and the wars are over. It's over for you. That's how I view this, Scorpio. I see this as exactly the opposite of tragedy. I see this as a badge of honor. I see this as you being acknowledged. And let's say appreciated. Okay, you know, like that slow hand clap thing where everybody in the room gets up one at a time, and the hand claps get louder and louder and louder because they love you. Your people love you, and you're bringing good stuff to this world here, Scorpio. Okay, and all this pain that you've had to endure. I'm sorry. I'm having a bit of a moment here. All of this shit, excuse my language, sorry. All of this is now fully exposed and, let's say, honored. And as much pain that you might have had to endure here, it's okay. You will live on a whole new thing, having been forgiven and for being very forgiving. In other words, like the wars are over now. Okay? Bless you, Scorpio. Sorry about that. Please make the best of this reading, Scorpio. I'm doing the best I can to read for you, but it's your reading. You have to reinterpret it for yourself. Okay, bye. I have to go. Bye.